Jeffrey Epstein and the Jeffrey Epstein Files is not going away. No matter how badly Donald Trump wants this to disappear, it's not. And it's only getting worse for Donald Trump as MAGA more and more are finding out that, oh, this isn't what I thought it was. Why is Donald Trump not releasing the files? It must be because Donald Trump is in the files, because he's best friends with Jeffrey Epstein. So in this video, we're going to go over some of what we've seen just in the last 48 hours as Republicans get closer and closer to forcing a vote to release all of the Epstein files, and actually several Epstein survivors yesterday, having a press conference going on CNN showing an incredible amount of...
Hey, if you live in a Republican district, call your Republican congressman or person and tell them that they need to sign the discharge petition, or else you're going to vote them out.
Courage, looking in the camera and saying, Donald Trump, we are not a hoax. Let's get into all this. Before I come back to this article, betrayed Epstein victim says she voted for Trump because she trusted him to, quote, protect us. As again, a lot of people are realizing that Donald Trump is not what he claimed to be, which, I mean, we kept screaming and yelling, saying Donald Trump's a narcissist. He doesn't believe anything except, protecting himself and power. And here we are. But regardless, it's good that people are realizing what's going on. But there is some Twitter accounts, some big conservative names. All they care about is how close they can be to President Trump. Can I get a picture at Mar-a-Lago? They don't believe in anything. The Republican Party doesn't believe in anything. It's all about just like sucking up to Trump. So we have some tweets here. Gunther Eagleman, pedophiles are a protected class under Joe Biden. This was tweeted in 2024. Now, lol, I support Trump 1,000%. I do wish the child blank on the island were held accountable, right? You support Trump 1,000%. He's all over the Epstein files. And Gunther either knows it and doesn't care, or he's too stupid to realize it. Charlie Kirk, retweet if you believe Donald Trump should order a full investigation into Epstein's illegal sexual trafficking from the last 30 years and get answers. New, Charlie Kirk says that he's done talking about Epstein for the time being, and he's going to trust his friends in the administration following a call with Donald Trump this weekend. Again, you talk to Trump, it's like, hey, I need this issue to go away. This is really politically hurting me right now. If you poll Americans on every single issue, Donald Trump's underwater on every single one, including the top ones that got him elected. The economy underwater, where he used to poll very well. Immigration underwater, where he used to poll very well. The Epstein files are his worst issue right now. His worst issue. Up, down, left, right, Democrat, Republican, communist, socialist, fascist. I don't care who you are and what you believe in. The vast majority of people by a wide margin want these files released and are becoming more and more angry with the fact that
this might lose it for him. He might lose his whole presidency. The craziest part is that multiple survivors have come out and said that they were not abused by Trump. So maybe one, there are victims that haven't come out publicly. And I think that's the more likely option. Or two, he really didn't diddle no kids, and but he either protected the people who did, or somehow profited off of the trafficking and stuff. So I think more likely is like we just haven't had a one of his survivors, a survivor of Trump, come forward yet. I think that's more likely, but another reason for their full court press and not releasing the files would be because he was in some way involved in protecting his best friend, which would make sense, Okay.
Donald Trump said before he got elected he would do that, and he's not doing it. We go to the next one. Mila Joy, who's a huge account on Twitter, released the Epstein files, and then saying, if Dan says, referring to Dan Bongino, there's nothing to the Epstein files, I believe him. Oh yeah, of course, Dan Bongino, the guy who's like, everybody in the Epstein files and everyone who's covering up should be put to death, and then he literally is in charge of the FBI, and he's like, I looked at the files, there's nothing to it, promise. Let's just get over that whole thing that we talked nonstop about for a year. Really? These people sold their soul for proximity to the president. And to further get the point across, this is a video of Charlie Kirk. Take a listen.
need to be released yesterday. We need to know every single person and get the Epstein client list out immediately.
1 hour later.
Or saying, Charlie, what about Epstein? Charlie, what about, Iran and Netanyahu visiting? I said, look, all that is worthy of maybe a segment. That pales in comparison. Listen to me. That pales in comparison to the civilizational import of whether or not we have deportations or amnesty.
Right. Right. Again, it just doesn't matter, guys. And this relates to every single issue. They told you, look, if you care about not going to war, ending all the wars, we can end the Ukraine war in 24 hours. Donald Trump just has to make a phone call. They said, if you vote for that, then your children, Gen Z men, you, me, you won't be shipped to Joe Biden's wars if you just vote. And now you have to look at those people and say, what's happening? Because none of the wars are over and we're bombing Iran, right? Same with this issue. They told you if you vote that there will be justice for the people that have suffered because of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. And now, nothing. He said he'd usher in the golden age of America. Well, inflation is rising, the labor market's being crushed, and consumer sentiment's at an all-time low. You have to...
Hey, bro, don't be getting into my shit.
I don't care what your constituents want. Active war up to Donald Trump. Trump admin warned labor markets being... You don't do what Charlie Kirk and the rest of those people are doing, especially on the elected official side. It's an act of war in this political party that is not... It doesn't believe anything besides...
So, one of the things that... Because they were supposed to release the Epstein Files 2 weeks ago. They didn't. They were late. They released what was already released, and they redacted a bunch of shit. So that was one way Democrats are trying to get the files. So because of that, or on top of that, Massie and Rokana, I'm sorry, Tommy. Massie and Rokana, they did a petition that if it gets 218 signatures, so all of the Democrats' signatures plus 6 Republicans, that'll force a vote on releasing the files and stuff. But the White House is lobbying against it, telling any Republican that votes for it, it's an act of war against the White House. Again, on the backdrop of multiple victims, like they had 6 victims on the TV, and they're like, did anybody was anybody abused by Trump or saw Trump abusing other girls or women? And none of them said no. So it's like, oh shit, like even the trolls on, the MAGA trolls on Twitter were like shouting victory at last, because they said that. they thought he was exonerated, and now it's like, oh, but he's still calling it a hoax. Why would you call it a hoax, bro? They just exonerated you, and now you're calling it a hoax? You're denying it ever happened?
Sucking up to Donald Trump. Trump admin warns GOP demanding more Epstein files as a, quote, act of war against the White House. President Donald Trump's team warned House Republicans that pressing for more Jeffrey Epstein files would be seen as a, quote, act of war against the administration. Because this party believes in nothing, right? It's a team sport here, guys. I don't care what you believe in. I don't care what your constituents want, okay? If you do this, which is not good for us, it's an act of war. Wow, this is where our government's at, the leader of the free world. If you go against me, I'm coming after you. Unreal. The thing is, just the other day, yesterday I should say, we saw Jeffrey Epstein survivors at a press conference as the heat has really turned up here. And we're getting close to a forced vote to release the Epstein files. Thomas Massie leading that charge. Marjorie Taylor Greene was at this press conference. We'll see if Donald Trump considers that an act of war, as a lot of MAGA say, she's turning on us. Other MAGA saying, finding the light. So it's kind of it's a MAGA war. They're all dividing themselves, eating themselves alive. But also this happened during the press conference the other day. I want you to take a listen and tell me what you think.
Department of Justice telling me that this was going to happen when it had already happened. This woman abused children.
A lot of people talking about this moment, and I made a video on my channel about this, so I want to know what you guys think here on the Adam Mockler channel. A lot of people saying Donald Trump was actually directing the military to fly planes over to interrupt this press conference.
He did. He did. 100%. Like, the fuck? The flyover was announced 2 days ago for no fucking reason. Like, there's no reason for 8 fighter jets to patrol over Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C., the capital, has its own no-fly zone. So they had to, like, guess... Only the military, basically, can fly over that. This press conference has been known for, like, a month. So, nah, they was, again, if he's exonerated by the files, exonerated by a few women, like, why is he hiding this shit?
It was quite loud, and they were low, and they'd fly right overhead. Let me know what you think. I'm not sure I have an opinion on this. Obviously, it's Washington, D.C., it's Capitol Hill, but it's also not out of Donald. I mean, we know who Donald Trump is.
All right, he's stupid. No, it definitely is. Like, okay. Nearest Air Force Base to Washington, D.C. Joint Base Andrews, okay? Washington, D.C. Like, again, like, this is a no-fly zone because the White House is right there. Where they would be... Where would they be going? Okay. Let's look it up. Let's look it up. What? DC. Yesterday. U.S. military flyover on Wednesday morning marked President Trump's meeting with Poland's newly elected President Karol Nawrocki. The flyover, which took place around 11 a.m., featured F-16 and F-35 jets. Nawrocki visit marks his first overseas trips. Okay. When did they announce flyover DC? That was 1 day ago. Yeah, so the date. They announced it the day of? They have to send an alert because it's very abnormal for jets to fly over DC. Just received an alert. Military flyover is scheduled for the day before, okay? They've known about this. Oh, bro. There's no... Nah, that shit is... Nah, that shit was deliberate.
Right. The guy who perpetrated January 6th and was watching and was like, cheering on his supporters to hang the president. This isn't particularly out of the norm for Donald Trump. Let me know. And speaking of, I'm not Adam Mockler. My name's Chris Maurer. I'm filling in for Adam Mockler on the Adam Mockler channel. If you enjoy this content, make sure you subscribe right down below. You guys have been showing so much love. Truly, I appreciate it. Adam and I love you. And on the link to my YouTube channel, will be in the description down below if you want to check it out. Subscribe there. It goes such a long way. Adam and I appreciate you so much. So as I said, also, Marjorie Taylor Greene was at this press conference. As again, the heat is really turning up on MAGA. A lot of people saying it's truly a day in hell. That I agree with Marjorie Taylor Greene. Broken clock is right twice a day. We also had Representative Nancy Mace leaving the meeting with the Epstein survivors. Excuse me. She left the meeting with the Epstein survivors in tears. She had a full-blown panic attack, as now she's feeling the pressure of actually hearing these people face to face and realizing, oh God, something needs to be done about this. Is she going to turn on Donald Trump? But a lot of people rightfully saying, like, what the fuck? Excuse my language. You voted for Trump. Like, what are we talking about now? She's like, oh, it's so sad. It's like, yeah, it's really sad. That's why we're pushing to release the files. Why don't you help us so these individuals can get justice, right? So people are turning. People are starting to figure this out. Let me bring you back to the original article. Also, by the way, you may notice background looks a little bit different. I'm holding a microphone right now. I'm doing some travel right now, so still trying to get this content out for you guys on the Mockler channel and on my channel. Just thought I'd let you know. Trying hard, still working. Maybe it's worthy of a like. Many people are saying, go down there, leave a like. Betrayed Epstein victim says she voted for Trump because she trusted him to, quote, protect us.
Goldman
a Jeffrey
and
Epstein
Eric
survivor
Swalwell.
who voted for President Donald Trump in 2024 has called out the president for suggesting that the sex traffickers' victims are, quote, lying, urging him to imagine it was his own daughters who were abused. Jenna Lisa Jones, who was 14 when she was abused, spoke to Lawrence O'Donnell on The Last Word on Wednesday evening. She described speaking out in front of the Capitol with other survivors at the press conference I showed you as, quote, intense. And she said she felt like she was, quote, putting...
Yesterday, we gave Nancy Mace credit for meeting with some of the victims.
We did. I was like, okay, look at her and Marjorie Taylor Greene have found their hearts, which is not surprising because Marjorie Taylor Greene has been saying it for a while now that the Republicans are not respecting the women in their party because they're going back to their old ways. They're going back to like the 50s and the 40s where like women don't can't have a fucking bank account and stuff, and women are just supposed to be at home with the children making dinner and for the man and stuff. Literally, they say that shit. Bob Walsh. Just Google Bob Walsh and fucking conservative Bob Walsh and Bob Walsh, WALSH, and like he says this shit all the time. Like the Secretary of Defense reposted a pastor, whole church. They have no women leaders in the church, and the married women are supposed to be subservient to their husbands, and they want to instead of having each person have their own vote, just households vote, and by households they go by the man's vote. Okay. Oh my God, it's so gross. It's so gross. It's so gross. It's so gross. I don't like talking about it.
Of Jeffrey Epstein, as well as signing Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna's discharge petition to try to get the actual Epstein documents released. So she met with the victims and was apparently very affected by it. She left and it seemed like she had been crying. She said she had a panic attack. And that, I think, was to her credit, considering that basically every other one of her colleagues had that meeting with the victims and then refused to sign the discharge petition. So she went on to sign it. So good. It's not just a tweet. It's not just a video. She actually did the right thing.
There's another woman, Anna Luna, whatever. She was there. She heard it. She was spouting off, oh, he might be Israeli spy. He might be Israeli. He might have worked for Israel. But you know what she does? She doesn't sign it. She doesn't sign the discharge. She's like, oh, I think we got what we needed from Trump already. She's going back and supporting Trump. Why? And why are they doing it? It's like, just, if you want the Democrats to go hurt them. Like, go ahead, go off.
But now, a day later, and we were obviously a little bit, torn about what to say about Nancy Mace yesterday. I got to take back some of the credit. Again, she did the right thing. Can't take that from her. But then she went on and she tweeted this. President Trump is the one who banned Jeffrey Epstein from Mar-a-Lago. President Trump is the one who cooperated with the feds to get this guy. President Trump is the one who is committed to protecting women and kids. No, he isn't. No. And no, you don't actually think that.
He's literally actively trying to block this from going through.
That, my God, what a dumb donkey you'd have to be to believe any of the garbage that she just said. Did Trump ban Jeffrey Epstein for Mar-a-Lago? That one is debatable. We don't know. The story that's been provided by the White House and Donald Trump about why his decades-long friendship with America's most notorious sex predator, how that ended, it changes every time you ask him or whatever. I would say that after being friends with Epstein through the 80s, through the 90s, through the aughts, and then eventually he bans the guy years after people are already being really suspicious about what he's up to, and seemingly because he poached an employee rather than for decades of sex crimes, doesn't reflect as well on President Trump as Nancy Mace would have you believe. President Trump is the one who cooperated with the feds to get this guy. I don't even know what that's supposed to mean. I don't think they needed Donald Trump's involvement at a certain point, considering how broad the network of his victims actually were. Maybe he cooperated with
Dementia.
I literally don't even know what she's referring to there. I do know that it appeared he knew for quite a while that Jeffrey Epstein was very interested in young women, and he would talk about that in interviews, not to the feds. He would talk in interviews about how he's even more than me, he's into the young ones or whatever. So I don't know that the cooperation really, again, reflects as well on Donald Trump as Nancy Mace would have you believe. And in any event, is he cooperating with the feds right now to really get this guy? I mean, think about it. They re-released the documents they'd already released. Okay, there's tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of other documents. He's not releasing it. By the way, is he cooperating with the effort to get that prison tape that we found out they'd been lying about, that there's multiple minutes that were directly edited out? We found that out 2 months ago. Is Donald Trump pressing for that to be released? Where's this warrior for women and children to find out about what actually happened with Jeffrey Epstein? I mean, if the
One of the survivors is a Republican who voted for Trump. She got on CNN and she said, I don't know what Trump is really disappointing me right now after I voted for him, because I thought I was going to finally have my justice. And here he is, even like me, like she even said it. She's like, Trump isn't one of the abusers. And so she was like, she legitimately had no reason in her head as a survivor for him to be preventing the release of these files, other than one of his friends, somebody close to him, somebody maybe even controlling him, is preventing him from releasing the files, or he's protecting somebody in the files. So yeah, and I think that is the most. I think that's probable. You know what we need? What you need for an for an investigation? Probable cause. That sounds like fucking probable cause to me. God damn it! What the fuck? Oh my Jesus. Okay, whatever. We're good.
deep state had him killed to stop.
We're in the ass backwards fucking time, alright? Ass backwards. I didn't know what my coach meant when he said ass backwards before. This is what he meant. Right here, right now, what we're experiencing, this is all, everything's happening ass backwards, okay?
Stop him from testifying. That would be one of the biggest scandals in modern American history. And the tape might get us to an answer on that. But he's not pushing for the tape to be released any more honestly than Nancy Mace is. So, no, his cooperation has not been particularly helpful in getting this guy, but also committed to protecting women and kids. I mean, first of all, he is every day, again, the mastermind, the ringleader of the cover-up of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. If he's protecting a woman from anything, it's the harsh conditions at the prison she used.
For why, too? It's like, why, bro? Why? Why are you doing it? You just make yourself look so bad.
To be in, so he moved Ghislaine Maxwell to a cushier one. Nancy Mace apparently has nothing to say about that incredibly suspicious activity. By the way, to return to the cooperating with the feds to get this guy, remember, it was Acosta back in the day that did the sweetheart deal. Trump gave him a position in his administration, almost like it was payback for going easy on Jeffrey Epstein. Again, Nancy Mace has absolutely nothing to say about that. Committed to protecting women and kids. I mean, I know Nancy Mace. You know, you're like a character from Westworld when presented with dozens of women who've accused Donald Trump himself. E. Jean Carroll in particular, this looks like nothing to me. I can't tell anything about this. But Jesus, I mean, and the fact that she put this out after the hearing and all that, when Donald Trump takes the opportunity that day, it's a Democrat hoax, nobody cares, waste of time. And what does she do? Does she put pressure on the guy who's bad-mouthing the event that she apparently supports? Nope. She runs to protect him from the consequences of his actions and his statements. And so, I don't know. Now I don't even know for sure. Was she being honest after meeting with the victims? Again, apparently, at least half of her mind was thinking, how can I protect Donald Trump coming out of this? And sure, she signed on to the petition. Was it because she suspected it wasn't going to have enough signatures anyway? So it's sort of easy at that point. Is she going and pressuring other Republicans to sign on to this thing? One would think you'd have the moral imperative to do that, but
right.
No, her position in this, what credit she deserves, I think, is way shakier today than it was before.
I mean, okay, well,
There's some reasons why they don't want to endorse this.
They're being threatened. I mean, look, I've got $2 million of ads running against me back in my district, and it's funded by 3 billionaires. One of them's in Epstein's black book. I mean, this is what happens. Your consultants, your political consultants will abandon you when the White House gets mad at you. The speaker will block all of your bills. They'll shut down your fundraising. This isn't political, but it is. I mean, the opposition to this is very political.
You just heard Republican Thomas Massie allege that Republicans are reluctant to support the discharge.
it's kind of a cool shirt. Oh, wait, what happened? What happened? Okay, might be.
You just heard Republican Thomas Massie allege that Republicans are reluctant to support the discharge petition that he introduced with Ro Khanna that would force the Trump administration to release the Epstein files because they are being threatened, which isn't surprising, but to hear him admit it certainly is jarring. Now, they need 218 votes for this to succeed, and they already have 212 Democrats, and a couple of Republicans have already signed on, like Lauren Boebert, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Nancy Mace, so they're very close, and by the time you see this video, perhaps they've already succeeded, but Republican leadership and the White House is doing everything they possibly can to shut this down and stop them from getting the 218 votes that they need for this to succeed. Mike Lillis of the
That's so crazy. Like, again, multiple women have come out and said Trump was not an abuser. The one of the victims even said, like, for the most part, it was just a personal harem for Maxwell and Epstein, but they said that when the girls would get older or age out, whatever, they would be shared amongst Epstein's friends, but it was a smaller group. It wasn't like at the 1,000 that they said. So there's that. So again, knowing that, they know everything. They had a team. They had a team of FBI agents go through all of their files and flag anything with Trump's name on it. So they know. Oh. Are we looking at this is bigger than Watergate, bro. This is bigger than Watergate.
The Hill reports that Mike Johnson is privately pressuring House Republicans to not support Massie and Khanna's discharge petition and to instead support the efforts of the Oversight Committee. Now, I'm going to explain to you why they're pitching this as an alternative in a moment. But in addition to that, the White House itself is explicitly warning Republicans that if they assist Massie and Khanna with this effort, it would be viewed as a very hostile act to the administration. In other words, if you force Donald Trump to release the Epstein files, he's going to come after you. Wow. Now, when Trump was asked about Massie and Khanna's effort during a press conference, let's just say that his response was predictably suspicious.
Thomas Massie, who is sponsoring a discharge petition to get the House to vote on release those documents, says he doesn't believe you're implicated in these files, but many of your friends and donors may be, and he says that's why the Justice Department is...
Massie, I don't know if he... Nah, Massie wouldn't do that. No, because he said it. So Massie was like, yeah, there's the donor, one of the big MAGA donors is funding a challenge to Massie's in Kentucky. And Massie was like, yeah, it's kind of weird how this guy's funding my opponent, and he's also in that Epstein black book. Oops.
Himself, or he's protecting pedophiles. Which one is it? Either way, it's bad. So the fact that he is trying to shut down this effort to release the files looks incredibly incriminating, in my opinion. And by his own admission, Bill Clinton went to Epstein's island 28 times. Okay, well, if that's the case, why are you protecting Bill Clinton by not releasing the Epstein files? Is it a hoax or is it not? Is it completely made up or is it real? And did Bill Clinton go to Epstein's...
No. And that's really bad. Like verbiage right now, like these women are real victims. Like they're not going away. They're real victims. The reason that they never came out is because the people that were behind all this were powerful enough to shut it all down.
Mr. President Donald J. Trump, I am a registered Republican. Not that that matters because this is not political. However, I cordially invite you to the Capitol to meet me in person so you can understand this is not a hoax. We are real human beings. This is real trauma.
What does it feel like emotionally to hear that?
Devastating.
It's being gutted from the inside out.
Damn.
Not that I would know what that feels like, but I imagine it's the anxiety buildup with the depression and the survival mode, and then your nervous system goes limp and ironically is shot, and it feels like you just want to explode inside because nobody again is understanding that this is a real situation. These women are real. We're here in person. To say that it's a hoax is just not... Please humanize us. I would like Donald J. Trump and every person in America and around the world to humanize us, to see us for who we are and to hear us for what we have to say. There is no hoax. The abuse was real.
And she's right to be mad because Donald Trump is denying her very real victimization, which is an insult to her and all of Epstein's victims. And he's doing this to cover his own ass and probably the ass of his friends and donors. Now, that's not surprising since Donald Trump is a predator himself. He's been accused of sexual misconduct by more than 24 women.
He's kind of just really hitting the attacking points. It's really bigger than that. It's really more just like Donald Trump wasn't a part of it some way, or if it wasn't a part of the cover-up, combination of both. It's definitely more. Some of the pages that were redacted, like legit, nah, bro, you're hiding something. Like I redact documents for what we have to do at work, and we you can't just redact whole ass pages. Like there's ways to protect names and situations without with leave. I mean, this is a simple ass fucking redaction. Every female name, every like explicit like description of what happened, minus the names of the men. Do they think there's like everybody is that stupid? Do they think like the whole ass country is that stupid? Like I can't figure out, oh, if I'm gonna redact something that's gonna protect the victims and not be, you know, like corn, then I'm just gonna redact all the explicit descriptions of what happens. Hey, stop. What are you doing? No. Stop. That's not, yours to play with. Okay. Sorry. They're playing with something that's not yours. Not theirs. So yeah, just redacting those descriptive stuff. That's descriptive stuff that could be considered corn. The names, date of birth, socials, addresses, family members of the survivors, stuff like that. And then all the names of the men unredacted. Like I don't understand. That's what, okay, if I was pushing for I was like, you correct, redact everything but the names of the men involved. Okay? Redact everything but the names of the men involved.
And he was also found liable for sexual assault in civil court of E. Jean Carroll, and he even bragged about walking into dressing rooms of underage girls when he owned pageants. He also talked about how attracted he was to his own daughter. So this man is a degenerate pervert who's using his power to prevent justice for his former besties' victims, and that is fucking repulsive, and he thinks that he can get away with this because he's gotten away with everything else. But even if he's able to get away with all of this, assuming that he committed any crimes, well, he might not be able to stop any of this from coming to light, which is why he's scrambling currently. And it's interesting that Republicans thought interest in the Epstein files would die down after they returned from their August recess, but there's seemingly even more momentum now than when they left. And leadership in the Republican Party is scrambling to shut this down by threatening and intimidating members of their own party, since their hope that like this would just go away never bared out. Now, even Trump seems to realize that this just isn't going to go away, and in order to placate the base, they're proposing an alternative to Massie and Connor's discharge petition that doesn't actually do anything. As David Dane explains in The American Prospect, after weeks of rumination, here's what Johnson came up with: a resolution hastily added to the week's floor voting schedule on Monday that would, quote, direct the House Oversight Committee to continue investigating the federal cases against Epstein
and this is like, hey y'all, like we're gonna vote on it ourselves. We don't need Massey's petition. This is a resolution that the investigations will continue. And Massey's resolution is like, no, just give us the files and we'll conduct our own investigation.
And Ghislaine Maxwell, which is already in progress. In other words, Johnson would have the House vote to do.
So yeah, let's get into the DC Music Festival. The protest, all right. Protest. Trump family caught scamming billions. Okay, hopefully. Widens Epstein scandal widened as reported catfishes. Oh, wait. This is good. This is good.
In today's breaking story,
wait.
The Epstein scandal has just erupted even bigger as a reporter just fooled a Trump official on a dating app. That's right. This is exactly as bizarre.
This is not bizarre. This is dirty. This is them playing dirty. A reporter found a fucking match with an official on a dating app, went out on a date with them with a fucking secret camera, and motherfucker, whoo, he fucking spilled the beans. He spilled the fucking beans. Hold up, I know it was. This one, chili beans. He did this. This is him. This is him. He just spilled the whole ass beans, okay? This is what we're at.
As it sounds. How's it going, everybody? Hunter Avalone here with Occupy Democrats. Welcome back to another video. Now, at this point, the Epstein cover-up from Trump's administration, it just keeps getting worse and worse.
Mr. Speaker, last night the Rules Committee spent hours helping Trump and the White House cover up the Epstein files. Trump is terrified the House will pass the Massey-Connor resolution to require that his administration release the damn files. He's lobbying against it. What's he afraid of? To kill the Massey bill, Republicans are pushing a resolution that will give Chairman Comer of the Oversight Committee sole power over what gets released. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't trust a self-proclaimed, and these are his words, Trump man, to decide what to redact and therefore what Americans get to see. Remember, Trump repeatedly, not just today, but repeatedly called the Epstein scandal a hoax, and he has called Epstein himself a terrific guy.
And this is resulting in more and more attention on the very subject.
Of a Mar-a-Lago party shows Trump giving Epstein his personal attention. The footage, shot in November of 1992, before Trump opened the resort as a club, shows the future president surrounded by cheerleaders for the Buffalo Bills and Miami Dolphins, capturing Trump's fun-loving bachelor lifestyle for an appearance on Faith Daniels' NBC talk show.
We're going to get great ratings in your show.
Trump is surrounded by women as music blares in the background. After a while, Trump goes to greet 3 new guests.
Take a look at today's bizarre top story. The Department of Justice is in full-blown damage control mode tonight.
Bro, and he came out with a statement. They're like, those are my personal opinions and do not reflect the Department of Justice. Like, shut the fuck up. You're getting fired for sure.
After a staffer was caught admitting that Republicans could be shielded from exposure in the long-awaited Jeffrey Epstein files. The explosive undercover recording was published by conservative activist James O'Keefe. It allegedly features a deputy chief at the DOJ speaking candidly about how the release of the documents would be handled.
But those files do exist.
Yeah, thousands and thousands of pages of files. They'll redact every Republican or conservative person in those files, leave all the liberal Democratic people in those files.
I think they visited that Maxwell person.
Yeah.
And also.
Okay, and you know how I know that we're never mind. I'm not gonna say it. Alright, what did he say? Go. Okay.
Allegedly features a deputy chief at the DOJ speaking candidly about how the release of the documents would be handled.
But those files do exist.
Yeah, thousands and thousands of pages of files. They'll redact every Republican or conservative person in those files, leave all the liberal Democratic people in those files.
I think they visited that Maxwell person.
Yeah.
And also involved.
Got transferred to a minimum security prison too recently, which is against BOP policy because she's a convicted sex offender.
They know. Everybody internally knows what they're doing. They're like, I'm just trying to keep my job though. I'm just following orders, bro. When they're out of power and the subpoenas start falling, I'm just following orders is not reason to do some illegal shit.
They're offering her something to keep it on shut.
That remark sent shockwaves through Washington, sparking immediate accusations of political bias and cover-up. The idea that Democrats could be left exposed while Republicans are redacted plays directly into fears that the Trump administration is weaponizing the Justice Department for partisan ends. The DOJ quickly scrambled to contain the fallout. Officials released a statement from Deputy Chief Joseph Schnitt, who confirmed he had spoken with the undercover reporter, but insisted his comments were personal opinions drawn from media reports, not insider knowledge. Schnitt went on to emphasize that he was tricked on a dating app, claiming he had no idea he was speaking to a journalist. Despite that explanation, the damage was already done. Members of Congress are now demanding answers, watchdog groups are calling for oversight, and the public is left questioning whether the DOJ can be trusted to release the...
I mean, you kind of knew this was happening. But to have them confirm doing it, this is a huge cover-up, bro. This is
Epstein
insane.
Files without political interference. In short, one offhand admission on tape has forced the Trump Justice Department into defensive mode, raising new doubts about transparency and accountability at the highest levels of government. Thanks so much for